Hello everyone, welcome into Above My Pay Grade. My name is Eric. Thanks for tuning in. If you could hit that like, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff. Let's take a look at how Europe is taking to their new gas prices and see how they like it.
Prices, startling energy bills, and frustration with politicians and employers. That's what brought 10,000 people to the streets of Brussels on Wednesday. Dressed in red, green and blue, the colours of the three main unions, the anger was palpable. Protesters want politicians to take action now.
I've been working for the past 23 years, and now is the first time I'm having real difficulties to survive.
We need to fight against the increasing prices and the energy bills. Life in general is getting very unbearable.
I count on my government to fix the problem. If there is a conflict between Ukraine and Russia or geopolitics, I don't care.
Another big complaint among protesters, their lack of purchasing power. They want a law from 1996 on workers' well-being modified so that trade unions can negotiate pay rises.
Now, that's a protest in Belgium. Those protests are happening all over Europe. Now, I want to zoom out and then zoom back in. Zooming out, I think what we are witnessing, you see this unrest all around the world, people not working together, central banks not working together, and we are witnessing the death of the system that we are in today. A lot of people think it can be saved, but when I say the death of the system, I mean the death of the financial system that we're in. Because for the first time in our lives, or at least mine, we are dealing with inflation and massive government debt, which there's not a good outcome to that. And so governments are forced to deploy resources and conserve things and potentially not work in a symbiotic relationship with other countries because they are worried about their own citizens and they are worried about civil unrest. And they're forced to do dumber and dumber things. Unfortunately, I think the problem is central control. The problem, it was the government's response to the Wu flu. It wasn't that we had the Wu flu, it was the government's response to it. Similarly, we're going to have worse outcomes because of the government response to shortages today. I look at 2008, the Great Financial Crisis. Anytime the government comes in and says, hey, there's pain in the market, we want to stem that pain, all they do is make it worse and later. So they wait, they delay the pain, and they don't allow the free market system to work its way through the system, meaning killing off bad investment, new companies rising, Jupiter's creative destruction. They don't allow for that, and therefore they make the problem bigger, and they delay it. And then at one point in time, there is no more road to kick the can down. I think we're there. I think we're at that pivotal point where governments creating more fiat, taking on more debt to pay for rising inflation is not going to work. All it's going to do is create more inflation. But the government's going to try. I did a story on this in the UK. They are printing money to pay for oil, and Germany's doing the same thing. Let's look at this story. I'll link it in the description below. Prices must come down. Germany to redeploy COVID cash to fight inflation. To avoid social unrest that is now becoming discussed. Keep in mind, these things don't happen in a vacuum. People flip the light switch on and nothing comes out. People plug their phone in and the magic juice doesn't come out of the wall. They start to get real angry. Or that magic juice that comes out of the wall costs 7 to 8 times what it did last year. It's a cost of living crisis. So just This civil unrest is being discussed more loudly in bureaucratic corridors of power in Brussels. Chancellor Olaf Scholz administration is preparing to deploy funds from its COVID preparedness piggy bank, which will be added in order to reach the 200 billion euros sum to the government believes necessary to put a lid on soaring gas prices. Yeah, you heard that right. And the best way to keep prices low is to flood the market with more money. That way inflation drops. Oh gosh, it is obviously going to make the problem worse. And people can pontificate about this all they want. It really just comes down to supply and demand. The problem with oil and energy, demand is fairly inelastic. People kind of like to stay alive during the winter. And therefore they turn the heat on. So it's kind of hard to tell somebody, hey, just freeze to death. Most people aren't too keen on that. So energy is an inelastic demand to some degree. And supply, obviously, has been hampered. And if there was any hope, because a lot of these protests are because they're sick of this whole Russia-Ukraine thing, and they say, hey, look, I don't give a crap what's going on over there. I need to heat my home. And that possibility is gone now because Nord Stream 2 was sabotaged. It's looking more and more like it has to be a developed country who did it. There's only certain countries who are capable of doing that. We could talk about motivation until we're blue in the face, but it's all speculation. But the possibility of Europe reversing course and saying, okay, sorry, we're done with the Ukraine crap. We need gas. We need it now. That's off the table. So what is Germany doing? Pumping money into the market to hopefully lower the cost on its citizens. Does it increase supply? No. Does it increase demand? Yes. Can't make it up. But politicians get more and more desperate. And again, like I said, I think you are witnessing the death of the system. And as the system dies, people are going to look for something outside the system to put their money in. Where is all this purchasing power going to go? Because as counterparty risk, as people start to look at risk as counterparty risk, meaning they look at buying government bonds in the United States and they go, or government treasuries, you go, I think my main concern is not the interest rate. My main concern is, will I even get paid back? Because they are in so much debt. And they look at other countries and they think the same thing. So when trust in the system evaporates, people start cloistering into their little groups, their countries, and you see it all around the news. Countries aren't trusting each other. Countries aren't working together because their individual problems are feeding off of each other. Because the dollar strength is hurting Germany. The dollar strength, for instance, is hurting England. And they're forced to do drastic things, like pump money into an economy that has double-digit inflation. All right, from oilprice.com. Germany's gas consumption rose too much last week, to levels higher than previous years. And without considerable gas conservation, translation, don't use your heat, including from households, Europe's biggest economy will find it difficult to avoid gas shortages in the winter. You may have heard this statement before, but we're 9 meals away from a revolution. There's a very thin line between civilization and anarchy, and that line is electricity. So you turn it off, people turn their lights on and they don't work, and it's just darkness. This is I don't know. I'm laughing because it's kind of scary, and I don't know what else to do. But I know what not to do is to pump more money into a inflating economy, and that's what Germany's doing. Germany's gas consumption rose by 14.5% compared to averages from previous years, mostly because this week was colder than comparable weeks in the last 4 years. So not only do they have an energy shortage, they're having colder days than they normally do, meaning a rise in energy consumption. And this is not a linear thing. So if you own a business, think about the business you own. If you own one, if you're running your business, you're making profits, energy prices go up tenfold, meaning you are paying per month what you paid for per year for energy this year. Does that mean you can continue to run your business at all? No, that means the economy falls off a cliff. There is no economy. Energy is the economy. And so if you don't have cheap energy, the economy doesn't run at all. Prices are going through the roof. Things have to be repriced potentially on a weekly basis due to energy prices. And people don't pay that. You go to your local coffee shop and you're paying $20 for a latte because they have to keep their lights on. Not worth it, so people don't go. So that means your economy falls off a cliff. So Germany's gas storage, they do have gas storage, kind of like our strategic, or SPR, Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Germany's gas storage sites are over 91% full, which is good news. But the country will survive the winter without rationing and shortages only under 3 conditions, Mueller says. First, bringing the projects for LNG imports online. Second, gas supply in Germany's neighbors remaining stable. Third, Germany conserving gas even when it's colder as winter approaches. Good luck selling that. Good luck selling that to your citizens. Keep your house at 60 degrees. I don't know, man. To me, the bigger story is, as this system dies, what do we replace it with? Because people don't trust the fiat system. They may not know it, but it is the centralized government control. It's the fiat system that allowed government to implement control, to blow the spending out beyond measure, to not have the brake pedal. And we're dealing with the consequences. And a lot of citizens may not know it, and I think it's important to educate them. Because what happens is they go, we need help during an inflationary time, and they beg the government for more of the problem that they created. And that's what Germany's going to acquiesce and do. They're going to put more money in the system to help lower the cost, but all it does is increase demand. It does not increase supply. It is bonkers stuff. But the governments have been doing this since really 2008. Kick the can down the road, spend more money. It's just incredible. And this is all under the umbrella. Germany has the highest inflation in 20 years. The highest inflation since the euro came out 20 years ago. Really scary stuff, if you ask me. But my best advice, I pontificate on here and I talk and talk. If you agree with me that this system is dying, what are we going to replace it with? And that's for you to do your own research. I like Bitcoin because it has no counterparty risk, and our whole system is built on counterparty risk. And when the system falls apart because of counterparty risk, people are going to be looking for the thing that doesn't have it. And that could be gold. It could be silver. It could be Bitcoin. It could be a couple different things. But I just don't think people are going to be looking to the government for a solution once they realize their purchasing power is kaput. And the government says, hey, we got this new currency. It's exactly the same thing just with digital control and surveillance. I don't think people are going to be too keen on it, even your average person that doesn't even think about this stuff. They're going to be like, you cause problem, I don't want you to come up with the solution. They're going to look for that solution outside of the system. Wild stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Germany's going to make it through the winter without massive civil unrest? I don't think so. And gas prices soaring? I don't think so. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.